Hey all, and welcome to Paracord Reviews. This video we're going to talk about something a little different. Tools, specifically multi-tools. If you're like me, you may keep a multi-tool in your vehicle, in your tackle box, or in your paracord bag with your paracord stuff. I have three of them here. We're going to talk about kind of generically what to look for, what's good, what's bad, and some recommendations I have. So stay tuned. So as I said, let's talk about the multi-tool. Um, my first entry into multi-tool was actually this one. It's a no-name brand, cheap one. My wife got it for me several years ago, and at the time, it did its purpose. But what I found is quickly after I got it, things like this started to happen, where it got everything got really loose to the point where it became difficult to use. The other thing I started to notice is because there was no grip here, when I would go in and if I needed to use any leverage, my hands would dig in to this thin metal here. So, I think she maybe spent $10 on this, but it's stainless steel, which is great. Isn't going to rust. But this was one of those things where it just didn't really work out. The saw was for nothing, as was the file. Using as an example, using the screwdriver, it has a lot of play. So when I go to screw in, as you can see, it's just trying to move. There was no locking mechanism, which takes me to my first point. If you're going to get a Leatherman tool, make sure it's got a locking mechanism. That's very important because otherwise everything's going to move on you. 2, look for one that maybe has a spring load. So I'm going to take this. This is a cheap one I picked up many years ago, but it's done me well. It's spring loaded. You can see there's a little spring here. The spring load is a nice little piece to have. This is actually the one I keep in my with my paracord stuff when I'm working on the go. I know you guys have seen me use this one. This is the one I usually keep at my desk or my work area, but this is one I keep with me in my bag. You can see this one, well, it doesn't have, say, necessarily a locking mechanism. It tightens up. So there's bolts or screws in here to tighten this up. This one just has rivets. So as those rivets separate, and you may be able to see, you can actually see that there's play here. And I've come in and I have done this treatment and squeezed them, but it's really, the rivets are starting to separate. So it's really, I hate to say this, it's useless to me. I don't even know why I keep it. This one though, if it starts to get loose, I can come in there with star screw, tighten it up, and I'm good to go. Some other things you're going to want to look for with a multi-tool. They give you the saw, that's great. I have found though, for my purposes, the big things I need are a knife. I have found that the screwdriver is good to have, but the good ones, the full-size ones, and I'm going to get to that, will also have scissors. So let me show you the good one I keep, and this one I usually keep in my vehicle. This is a Gerber. I really like this one. It is part of their suspension line. I'll put a link to it in the description below. But this one is spring loaded. You can't see the spring, but it is in there. It is a locking mechanism. So in this, I have the typical screwdriver, or I mean, I'm sorry, knife. But then it also has the flathead, the Phillips head. It does have a saw, and this is a real saw. So compare that, and you can see this one locks because it, and then I can just pull this to unlock it. But compare that saw to this one. Night and day difference. Night and day difference. Here's another knife slash saw, or more of like a serrated edge. Bottle openers, things of that nature. But here's the other piece I have found I use, and that's nice to have. And that is scissors. Believe it or not, I find that I use these frequently too. Whether it might be stripping the sheath off of a wire or something like that. I have found that this is very useful, and it's just a nice to have. Of course, these do have wire cutters, and even your cheap ones will have that. Your mini ones generally will have that. But this is just a quick little tip. If you're out there looking for one, there's a ton on Amazon that are cheap. This one, this Gerber one, if you get this specific one, it'll run you $48. They have one that doesn't come with the case, which it's nice to have, but it's not necessary. It's like $28. You're gonna see a ton of these on Temu, on Wish, even on Amazon under 10. You know what, spend the extra money, get something like this. This will last you maybe 6 months, and then it's gonna start to fall apart and you're never gonna use it again. It's a waste of metal. If you wanna get a little one, there's a ton out there. Gerber has a really nice one. This one was actually, this is a camo version of one I believe it's called Balloon or Boulon or something like that. I think I spent $5 for it. It was one of these add-ons when I was ordering something. It's a good little one to have. Anyway, that's it for this week. Until next time, keep paracording. Later.